All right, everybody. Are we live? Are we live? Let's see here. Good afternoon. Just had the home inspector come out for our deck that we had put in, our screen porch there. And old school guy, fantastic. Apparently, they outsource nowadays to third parties. These inspectors, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like they just like a lot of these places don't have quality talent to do stuff anymore. Hey, what's up, Carson? Hey, what's going on, man? Did you get my email earlier today? I hope you did. Man, it's crazy when you think about it. Like the old days, all this stuff would be done in house. Now they're outsourcing everything. You know, it's only a matter of time for the outsourced cops. That's not good, man. That's bad news. That's bad news. Yeah, so I want to go over. I want to look at some comments from a video that I reposted. Yeah, right here. When I was a couple pounds lighter, it looked like. So, ouch. Hey, what's up, Bill? I got a boo boo. I got a boo boo. Anyway, so we'll see. Hopefully, this guy will give us a clean shot to get out of here. It's been a long process building this. I didn't do anything. We just hired this guy from Jim who lives in Hawaii, but he built our deck, or he built our basement. Love the guy. Dale and Terry are his go-to guys from I think they live in Gwinnett County actually, and just guys kick ass. And Jim's like OCD when it comes to getting the job right, and we're like, he's also got a sense of what's the word I'm looking for, like coordination, like I don't want to say fashion, but you know what I'm saying. He says, nah, it probably look better over there. Just a great guy. We actually found him. He advertised just a little thing in the Catholic Church Bolton from many years ago. And anyway, he's since moved to Hawaii with his girlfriend, but he comes back and it's been a long time, man. A long time getting this done all summer long. Now we're mid into fall and still working on it, but it's worth every penny of it because the guy kicks ass, our builder, and we know we want to be done right and long term as well. All right, so happening now is this live stream, Craig. Happening now. It's happening now. I didn't know if I would get done in time with the inspector. Yeah, right, 100%, man, 100%. Look at that early voting. Yeah, crazy. You can't. They're keeping black people from voting. Oh my goodness! And just how come they can get away with saying all this? You know what I'm saying? How come they're not called election deniers? It's crazy, man. It's freaking insane to me. I don't even want to go down there. All right, so I want to kind of go over some comments that I'm going to share with you here. All right, hold on just a second. Let me actually save this real quick. Bookmark this tab. Bookmark not under Einstein, but investment stuff. And hopefully the Federal Reserve will not take stuff down. All right. All right. So I want to go to comments. All right. Lunchtime. There we go. So we're going to go to comments. There we go. All right. All right. So this is a video I did a year or two ago. And I when I was about 10 pounds lighter. Trust me, I'm now working. I got to lose some weight, dude. It's all, I don't like my cheeks being a little bit heavy. So I've the last couple of days giving up junk food and stuff. So I'll probably never get down to 175. But if I get down to 185, I'd be pretty happy. That's for sure. And I don't drink beer. I don't eat that. I mean, I literally don't eat that much. But I do like ice cream. So that's the bane of my existence: ice cream and sweets. And so I got to get rid of some ice cream and sweets. And when I'll get back down, I'll probably put it back on, get back down. It's always within a 10 to 15 pound thing. But once you break 195, it's time to back it up. You know what I'm saying? So I get down to 180, 185, I'm going to be happy. So low carbs for me, lots of meat, I'm not, I love bread, dude. So I'm not being one of these anti-bread guys. I mean, I love it. I eat, when I eat a hamburger, I just eat one ham, not the whole bun, but one part of the bun. I just try to half my bread intake. I don't eat any potato chips, but I do like chips and salsa. So I'm trying to half my chips and salsa. What else? Eat a lot of meat. I'm just trying to give up ice cream. because I freaking love ice cream, dudes. Oh man, I kill some ice cream. And they got this low keto. Someone, I forgot her name. Who was that in Florida? She told me about this keto ice cream. It just didn't taste the same. I don't know, that keto stuff. It's missing something in terms of overall taste. Like the keto chocolates and the keto ice cream stuff. It just is missing something. Then it makes you. Let's just put it this way: you'll be regular if you take the keto stuff. Oh, you guys want to hear something crazy? All right. So what? Let me ask you guys a question. What's I'm not still lifting weights. No, I'm not still lifting. I mean, I'd like to, Craig, 100%. I mean, it's not that I don't want to. I still got my whole contraption down there. I'm just not. I've been lazy at some regard, but I'm just, frankly, I'm just trying to focus on not eating as much. And if I can do that, I'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'll get back down there on occasion. I'll never get back to, as I was within spitting distance of the 1100 club. You know what I'm saying? I forgot what that was. 320, 315 on the bench. 315 on the bench. Yeah, I think it was 315 on the bench. I wasn't at 405 on the squats, but I was getting close. I was doing a couple reps of, I can't remember exactly, but up over 350. I just can't remember the exact amount. So 405, and then oops, don't, buddy. The deadlifts. I was never gonna get. It'd be tough to get to 405, but I was getting there, and then I popped my shoulder, and that's where I just said basically, and I didn't give up on weightlifting, but I just gave up on heavy weightlifting. It was fun. I mean, it wasn't fun. It was a challenge, but man, it was freaking addictive. That's why these guys, and I'd never a bodybuilder. The guy who does my website used to be Big Dave Simon, freaking kicks ass. He used to be he and his wife were bodybuilders. But he did the same thing, blew out his shoulders. Now he does all bands. He said, dude, you get great workouts with bands. I said, oh, okay. So I need to get back there. I do push-ups. I do sit-ups. Oh, would you guys make up your minds? There we go. Just chill, everybody. Chill. But my man, Dave Simon, he does bands. And I just got so many free weights down there. I hate to even just not use them, but be that as it may. One of the hard things about moving is going to be how we going to move all that stuff. Right there, dude. Oh, it's missing the fat that what makes ice cream taste good. Right there, my shoulder. Dude, that hurt like hell, man. I'll never sit there and forget sitting there and just when that sucker went, excruciating pain. Here comes Papa. They can't make up their mind. They hear my wife's at home. They hear her in the kitchen, like, ooh, someone's eating something. Whoa, look what I got. Chris Barfield Financial shirt. Don't go to barfieldfinancial.com because he'll steer you in the wrong direction. Chris Barfield, always up to no good. I don't trust that Chris Barfield guy. That guy, oh boy. I don't know, man. I'm wearing his t-shirt. You know what I need to do? I need to wear his t-shirt with a thing around there, like just say no to Chris Barfield. I bet Chris Barfield is related to Fauci somehow. I bet Barfield and Fauci go drinking together. I bet they do. I bet Barfield and Fauci go drinking. They try to pick up chicks. I bet they do. You know how they got that picture of Fauci at the Washington Senators game without his mask on? There's some guy sitting next to him, some random dude. I bet that's Chris Barfield in a mask on. I bet Barfield and Fauci were sitting there at the Senators game drinking beers without their masks on. I bet that's true. Barfield says he's from Indiana. I bet he's not. I bet he's piling around with Fauci and probably right now eating lunch with Francis Collins, plotting their next diabolical plan. Freaking Barfield. Why even wear this shirt? It's like I'm advertising for this guy. It'd be a good shirt to wear inside. Dude, Craig, I get it, man. Craig, you're hitting on the head. The idea of doing bonds is insanity. I 100%. I can't do it, man. I sit there, man. Craig, you're hitting on the head. I sit there, and I'm saying, I know. My brain is telling me bonds are so much upside. But I can't. And I know the stocks don't have that much upside. Wellington is far down as I can go in the bond realm, and I can't believe I even have Wellington. I just can't believe it. Dude, I agree with you 100%, man. When bonds are this far, my man emailed me today. This is crazy. I was like, man, what the hell? I'm like, dude, there's the opportunity in bonds. And look, you guys got to do what you got to do. But I'm like, the opportunity in bonds is so freaking obvious right now. I can't believe it. I'm not doing it. Yeah, I don't even know what the markets are doing today. What are we doing here today? All right, so we're up a little bit. All right, so went up and then it fell. What's going on with that? Went zoops like a. Anyway, so my man emails would say this is. I thought this I was going to do a video on it. I might later on. Hold on just a second. All right, hold on just a second. Where is my guy? All right. I enjoy the recent one on Schwab and using it to buy CDs or treasuries. This is my man Marky Mark. Maybe a good topic for a video would be, in the light of the current yields on treasuries or CDs, is it a good time? No, that's not the right one. This guy is saying it's a good time to move from the TSP to Schwab to enhance your 3 to 5 year ladder. No, I haven't looked at the TSP G fund. I would never leave the G fund. G fund kicks ass. The G fund's 100% guaranteed. That's not the, right here. This guy, Mike. All right. So he says, I'm in a bond fund PTTRX, and it just posted a 20% loss from November till now. Let's see, PTTRX. That PIMCO? That's got to be a PIMCO, right? Let's take a look. PTTRX. Yeah, PIMCO Total Return Fund. There we go. Look at that. So it's down 20% from last year. That's nuts. The problem with, and this is Bill Gross's fund. I actually that's funny that this guy sent this because I just saw an article about Bill Gross saying bad things about the PIMCO Total Return Fund. I haven't read it. I just looked at briefly the headline I came across. I think it was on Zero Hedge. I was like, when are we? And I just haven't looked at it yet. I said, that's kind of weird. Anyway, so because Bill Gross is no longer with PIMCO. Anyway, if you looked at PIMCO Total Return Bond Fund, and I haven't looked at it in years because, like my man Craig, I'm just not a bond guy. I'm just not. Even though I see the blindingly obvious opportunity here, but they used to have heavy leverage. I don't know Schwab. I'm seeing God Almighty. I wish I could just stay focused. I actually don't wish I could. I like who I am, but sometimes I wish I could just stay focused. We go to Schwab, and we're gonna look up see if they still got heavy leverage. Get your one-way ticket to midnight. Hollering, heavy leverage, time and time feeling just right. Hollering, heavy leverage, desperation on something. Hollering, heavy leverage, noise. Heavy leverage. You guys know who that was? Who's singing that song? All right, let's go to PTRX. I'm not sure if Schwab's going to show us. Yeah, right. So let's make sure we don't show any personal info. There we go. Time and time feeling just right. Hollering heavy metal noise. Let's see what we got. Because I used to leverage heavy, man. And that gave them some serious upside while they're smoking all the other bonds. Portfolio turnover. Risk and tax, upside capture. See, upside capture, downside capture. That means they're definitely doing something because they're 110 on the up, 104 on the down. Which they're shorting, they're leveraging and stuff. I don't know if they still do that, but there's a way. Where was that? Leverage. Oh, see, leverage fund. No, I used to. There you go, right there. Leverage fund. It used to be. Look at that portfolio turnover 300. That's going to be a heavy taxable thing to you. Damn, look at that. Leverage fund. Typically use derivatives to attempt to multiply returns on underlying index. Well, leverage also means debt. They have propensity to be more. I don't like the just saying leverage because leverage will be debt too. Anyway, whatever. I don't know. They used to be. I know that for a fact. And I'm not sure if Schwab is seeing it the way that Morningstar used to. I don't know. But, man, don't yeah, 10 million minus, let's see, 10 million minus 10.5 million because I'm so heavily leveraged. All right, just joking. Hey, UK's in the house. What's up, little Liz Truss? If you all bring back freaking snaky Boris Johnson, I think Boris Johnson. Do you all remember Chavez? Everybody knows who Hugo Chavez was, right? And remember Erdogan? Well, Erdogan is still Erdogan, whatever his name is. Erdogan from Turkey and Chavez, they did the same thing, dude. I have a sneaky suspicion. Oh, come on, Carl. Most women aren't this, that, or the other. Jeez Louise, brother. Oh, you can't say that. You can't say that about a group of people. Not most. You don't know that. You don't want people saying about white guys. Anyway, Carl. I bet in a cage match, I bet Denise would destroy Carl. And Denise was like freaking half pint, like $1.10, probably 5'1", you know what I'm saying? But she has that Wisconsinite heritage that would freaking just never stop until the freaking cows come home. Anyway, Hugo Chavez. So Hugo Chavez in 2003, maybe, he pretended there was a coup to solidify power. It's a great strategy. I fell for it. And I remember there was and I hated Hugo Chavez. Can't stand that guy. And I was like, oh man, I was ignorant. This back when I used to think George Bush had this is back when I was still ignorant about things. I'm now woke. Anyway, so Hugo Chavez, Hugo Chavez. Yeah, I'm sure is it right? Victor Chavez, Hugo Chavez. Anyway, long story short, so he faked his coup, and then he got on a plane. He was extradite. No. He was fled. He was exiled. Then he came back, and then he took over the country and led it into a socialist, communist place that now Biden is begging to send Exxon and Chevron down there to get oil. The whole thing is just insane. Look, man, if you don't. Once you see what is happening in the world, you can't help but just laugh. You don't get so frustrated anymore. You recognize it's a big globalist cabal. They have plans that you can't stop, and you're just like, all right, you can see it. You're like, how do other people not see it? But you recognize 20% of the population is awake, 80% of the population is not. That's all there is to it. If you're still not awake and you're still getting boosted after all this happened, I don't know what to tell you, man. When I went to CVS the other day to pick up some prescriptions for Chloe, and there are 5 people waiting in line at CVS for their boosts. All Pfizer. I was like, I can't believe this, but whatever. I mean, it's just whatever. You can't fix stupid, man. You can't. And to beat your head up against the wall trying to fix stupid, you can't. Anyway, so Hugo Chavez, he set up a coup. So in Turkey, they did the same thing. A couple of years ago, Erdogan, whatever the hell his name is, he literally did the same thing. It was all fake. I think Boris Johnson has done the same thing to get Liz Truss in there, to have her screw up somehow. I don't even think she screwed up that bad. I just think it was all part of the plan. Now they're begging for Boris Johnson to save the Conservative Party. If you think Boris Johnson is your answer, if you think freaking, what's his name there? Jeb Bush, I don't even know who would it be freaking in the Republican Party. It won't be, no one's going to vote for Jeb Bush. Lindsey Graham you're freaking nuts, dudes. You're nuts. You know what I'm saying? If you think UK is so far gone. I was listening to this guy who's supposedly their version, not of Trump, but their right wing guy. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Oh, I'm 100% in favor of green energy. We're going to subsidize it because it's great." Turns out his wife owns this huge farm that she wants to put solar. She owns this huge farm. They own this. They have incentives for this green firm to pay them to put solar farms. The whole thing's corrupt as the day is long. A lot of evil has come from UK. In fact, I was just reading about Eddington today, who John Blank, his first name, the guy who basically founded Einstein, if that makes sense. Oh, Eddington, Quaker, an internationalist. Isn't that interesting? A pacifist, Quaker, internationalist. And he's like, we've got to promote Einstein. And again, Einstein was what? Oh, he's an internationalist as well. I'm not saying anything about a tribe. It's well beyond a tribe. If for those of you who are going down that road, nope. It's well beyond a tribe of an Abrahamic religion. It's a globalist evil cabal. Eddington fell for it. The guy in, I'm drawing a blank, his name too. I can't remember. They posted a couple things on him. The freaking main physicist in Germany, Sonnenfeld. I've seen his face in my head. I just can't remember his name. He said to Einstein after Hitler took over, he goes, I just wish there'd be no more Germany. And now there would be, I used to be patriotic. Now I don't. Now I'm not. I wish there'd be a pacified European Union is essentially is what he's saying. This is in 1935. I said, so he used to be patriotic during World War One, and then he saw Hitler. They're bringing the new nationalism, and as such, we want a big one world government. Einstein, but it started before Einstein. It started with Darwin. Copernicus probably even went back to him. I haven't done that much research on that, but I will. But certainly Darwin. Then we had the Stanislaw Lario from Poland, who was part of that group, and he said he promoted Einstein to Max Born, promoted him to Max Planck, who promoted him to Sonnenfeld, the whole thing. All these guys they're not nationalists. They're not nationalists. They're internationalists. Internationalists is not good. And so basically you had, it isn't any wonder that Hitler took over. I think that's by happenstance. No, it was a plot, dude, to put him in power so he could get rid of nationalistic sentiment and make it all in a one world government. The EU, the World Health Organization, the UN. Did you hear about the stupid guy from the UN now? The stupid Secretary General? I tried to post it, but I didn't do it. The guy says, the climate protesters are radical, but not nearly as radical as the purveyors, basically the fossil fuel companies. So if we're going to go after anyone, we need to go after them, the guy from the UN, as he's flying around the world telling people about climate change. And so, hey, that's Boris Johnson right there. In Eddington came from UK. A lot of evil came from UK, man. Lots of evil. Darwin. I mean, there's tons of that. So UK... So it kind of went from Rome probably to the UK, and we are the third empire of that, if that makes sense. Anyway, lots of bad stuff from the UK, dudes, 100%. And Boris Johnson is just the latest incarnation of it. It's crazy. What's my take on Thatcher and Reagan, Pope John Paul? Initially, I was all about these guys. I still am. I love Margaret Thatcher until I am convinced otherwise. Ronnie Reagan, love him too. Pope John Paul II, love him too. But I'm less endeavored toward their way of thinking, because I just wonder if they were put into power as a way to allow the Chinese to come to power through cheap labor. I don't know. But Nixon was 100%. I mean, what the hell do you think Nixon went to China? Because Nixon is a capitalist. Nixon's a capitalist? What? Wage and price control guy, the guy who said we're all Keynesians now, that guy's a capitalist? No, but yet that capitalist went to China to open up our trade routes with China. None of this happens by coincidence, man. It's all part of a grand scheme. These guys are good. It's all satanic. How people don't see this? That's crazy to me. People tend to think that, why would they do this? Because they're being lied to. I don't think Eddington was satanic. I just think he had his little role, and what he was told by satanic forces that if this happens, good things will come. And his role was to promote Einstein. I don't think he was satanic in the least, but there's a satanic movement that says, look, we're going to move these people in the direction we need. 100%. It's crazy. All right, enough of that. So going back to UK. UK can kiss my big fat behind. And so if Boris Johnson comes, I'm going to laugh my ass off. All right, we back? I just got off the thing there. Yeah, 100%. Maduro. How dare you, Harry? Harry's got to run. He's got a meeting. Harry doesn't work. He doesn't work. So who's bossing Harry around? We know. It's better half there. But actually, it's interesting you said, my man Carl. Nope. Hold on a second. My man Carl says this. It's very interesting. 80 to 90% of women initiate divorce, cash in the prizes. I don't know that to be true. I don't know it to be fact. But anyway, but it was interesting. I was just reading today by a lefty. I forgot who it was, from the 50s. And he said basically, it was Hoffer, Eric Hoffer. Oh, man, I don't know. I'm not going to find that. But basically what Eric Hoffer was saying is that a bunch of older ladies, what the hell they call them, man? Older women, spinsters, are the revolutionaries, because they're bored. They got nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what Hoffer said. I said, that's actually kind of, you look at Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying? You look at the Me Too movement, you look at a lot of like the temperance movement, you look at a lot of the socialists and even the Nazis, a lot of these guys were women. You look at like the Chinese Maoists, some of the most heavy hitters weren't men. They were women who were just bored older spinsters with nothing to do, or cat ladies, essentially. Sad, man. You know what I'm saying? It's very interesting. In fact, I was having a debate with Chloe when I was coming back from UGA the other day. I said, we're just talking about if women ran the world, would we be socialist? And we had a good debate about that. And I don't think so, because I think at the end of the day, it'd be completely authoritarian. You have this feeling that it'd be all, we'll just get along. No, no, no. If women ran the world, it'd be authoritarian. Worse than for men run the world. Crazy, man. Anyway, it's very interesting. Reading about Hoffer, I was like, damn, I never thought about that, put two and two together, but it's interesting. So point being is I don't deny whatever Carl is saying to some regard. I just hate when we say all women this, or not all women, but a few. I don't like that at all. I think we should not do that. How dare you, Michael? How dare you? How dare Mike? Look at that. Oh my goodness. I knew a guy getting his PhD in history, married to a Marxist high school teacher. His wife ran off with a Republican with big muscles. Yeah, that'd be me. His wife ran off of me. She goes, "Hi, Josh. Aren't you rich?" Susan didn't like my comments. The great, well, yeah. I just somehow just clicked on something that took me off. It's weird, man. Oh man, if women ran the world, there'd be hundreds of parties fighting over every issue. We have this right here. That's funny, man. Right on. Oh, here's Craig. Got another truck. Ooh, oh, we gotta leave. All right. What did this guy say? This guy said he's leaving. Did I make him mad? Did I say something that right here? I'm sorry and goodbye. Oh boy, what's Mike? I want to see did I upset old Mike there? Because he said he's from the UK. Yeah, he's from the UK. I guess I made him mad with my bashing of UK. Well, all right, whatever. All right, and then we're bashing people who unload trucks. Get out of here, Craig Hazelwood. All right, so I want to go. I forgot my train of thought. Imagine that. All right, so I want to go back to what I was thinking about here. Oh, all right. So right here, I want to go to these comments. I just, oh man, it's so frustrating. All right, so we're gonna go to these comments right here. So this is my video I did, and right, it's what was it? Be very afraid of retiring in the 2020s. Now, I did this video last year, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, something like that, and I just reposted it to my other channel, Josh Scanlon. But I want to show you something. I don't have my glasses right here. All right. Hold on just a second. Right here. I don't know who this person. I mean, I remember. I don't know. Like, I don't know his or her name, but I've seen him or her around, and we'll just say they, because 57 flavors. They said, "Did you recently post a video? Can you see that? Yeah. Did you recently post a video stating that retiree could spend 4.5%? Also, not too long ago, you were telling us we were heading to a deflationary period. I'm confused. I know we all have our own spending requirements, but contradicting stories and studies are confusing." All right, I've always said 5%, 5%, always. And I will continue to say 5% because what they don't get. We'll come back to some other negative Nelly. I think they're still out there. Because what, and so going back to the video I just posted earlier today, which is that the Fed is saying the markets aren't going to give us what we've historically expected. Now, it's just one guy at the Fed, but I completely agree with that, or historically have received. That doesn't change a freaking thing. Why doesn't that change a thing? So basically, the Fed, the guy who's writing for the Fed, the economist from the Fed, was saying he expects 3 to 3.5% real returns on stocks. Now, I don't know what he's using for inflation rate. That's a little bit better than what I predict. All right, so I'm using a basically 6 to 6.5% rate of return. Yeah, it's about what I predict. If I'm using a 3% inflation rate, again, inflation is I'll share with you in my book when I finish it up exactly what inflation should be looked at. But just as a whole, we'll just say 3% for simplicity. You should never use 3% for your retirement plan inflation because it's don't do that to yourself because that's not true. Anyway, so if we have a 6.5% rate of return on stocks, that's gross. How do we get that 6.5% rate of return? Well, we got 4.5% earnings growth year over year plus a 2% dividend yield. 4 plus 2.5, even I can figure that out, is 6.5. Subtract 3% for inflation, and net a real return is what people in economics would say. A real return would be 3.5%. That's exactly what this guy from the Fed says. So I'm spot on with him. All right. So the point being is, oh my goodness, my real return is only 3.5%. How can I possibly take 4 to 4.5%? I've always said 5%. But I don't know what I did with my blue pen. It's crazy. Oh, there it is. Oh, sweet. Because your retirement plan isn't contingent on your growth of your investments. That's your growth of your investments. It's not contingent on that, man. What is your retirement plan contingent of? Contingent of. And, I'm going to wait. What is your retirement plan contingent? Yeah, I saw that. That's fantastic. What is your retirement plan contingent on? It's not contingent on the growth rate of your investments. I mean, you want to get more growth than less, but your retirement plan is contingent of what? Let's see what people got to say there. It's a 15-second delay, so if you're wondering about the pause, Jill. Unacceptable behavior. That should have been 15 seconds, right? All right, your retirement plan is contingent on spending. Hey, look, I get freaking Jill kicking ass and taking it. Spending. So I was working with a guy yesterday, and he freaking did Right Capital like I've never seen anyone do before. He had all these different, literally spending categories. It was crazy. I was like, damn, good job. But he had them all going adjust for inflation until he and his better half died. And so when we sat down and started looking at it, when we sat down on a computer and started looking at it via conference call, it's right on. Everybody's getting it. I said, no wonder why you only have a 27% probability of success, because you have all this expenditures that are going to last until you're 94 years old, adjusted for inflation. Do you really think you're going to be spending $1,000 a month in travel? Do you really think you're going to be spending $1,000 a month in landscape and other I can't remember something, but other thing. I said, no, come on, you're not gonna be spending that for the 35 years. $1,000. It wasn't just landscape, it's other things too. Do you really think you're gonna be spending $200 a month on new cars for the rest of your life? No, because they drive. He drove a 2000. What did he drive? Like a 2013 or 2007 Honda Odyssey minivan, or I can't remember. And she drove something like a 2013 something too. So you're not going to be spending $200 a month on cars. Anyway, point being is you might spend $200 a month when you switch out one car, but you're not going to be doing that for the rest of your life. So we just did some quick adjustments, and lo and behold, now they're at I can't remember what it was, 75%. What I can't remember. On top of that, they also had what? They said, our long-term care expense. And the Right Capital will say it's going to be $60,000 a year for the last 2 years. The default in Right Capital is $60,000 a year for the last 2 years in retirement. And I inflate that at 5.5% because all health costs are 5.5%. They're only 60 years old. So 5.5% inflation over 30 years at 60,000 today. I mean, you can just take your trusty calculator and say 60,000 today, present value. 5.5% is our interest rate. 30 years our end, zero payment. That's going to cost. Got to change that to 1. Hold on just a second. That's going to cost $300,000. I do 30 years. One sec. Oops. Yeah, $300,000 in 30 years for 2 years. $300,000 for you. Year 1, $300,000 for you. Year 2, then your better half, $300,000 if they die the same year. Essentially, we're talking That's $1.2 million. Where's the evidence of that? Well, grandma. Okay. So grandma, granddad? No, he died earlier. Oh, okay. Anyone else? Well, I'd worry about it. Okay. So should we worry about to the extent that both you guys are going to go for the equivalent of 60,000 a year in today's numbers for 2 straight years? Where is this evidence? I mean, it's just not there. Are there people do it? Yes. And how do you do that with grandma? Well, and I gave her the example of a client I had up in Franklin, West Virginia. Love this woman. So we were very good friends with Glenda and Keith. I won't say their last name, but I love them in Dayton, Virginia. Glenda used to watch Maddie when she was just a whippersnapper, and just great guys. Keith was just just a great people, man. And this when he lived in Dayton. Anyway, Glenda's mom lived up in Franklin, West Virginia. And I can't remember. Anyway, I just can't remember what her name was. Drawing a blank. I forgot. But anyway, and she had to go as she aged out. She had to go to Sunnyside Retirement Community in Harrisonburg. So she came down the mountain, Sunnyside Retirement Community. I think it was like $6,000 a month to be there. She was there 18 months. Then she passed. Maybe 24 months. I can't remember. It wasn't that long. And how did she fund it? Well, she sold her farm up in Franklin, West Virginia, and she still had Social Security. She had some retirement assets. I just, so even if that were to happen to grandma, is the only, the point being is, what are the other resources that you have other than your financial assets? Well, there's a lot of other resources, generally speaking. Your income, first of all, your house, second of all. And the point being is, so we finagled this a little bit. Now they're at 98%. And the only reason they're at 98% is they're invested pretty aggressively now with huge downside risk. And I just, again, the thing about software, it assumes that you're going to be dumb. It doesn't matter what software. I mean, it's just any kind of software. It's not just Right Capital, because I actually have Right Capital where it'll increase, your spending will increase with inflation. And I use a 5.5% inflation on socials, on Medicare, on healthcare, 3% on other things, and 2.5% on other things. So basically, the overall inflation is between 3.25% to 3.5%. So it's increasing by 3.5% each year. And I even say that's pretty suspect. And then it's going to go down 10% when you're 70. And then it goes up again by 3.5% each year. All right. So the 10% is a one-time drop. 3.5% is annually compounded. And then it goes down another 10%. Even that is very conservative estimates of expenditures. As most people, their spending actually goes down significantly more than that as they age. But I'm pretty cautiously pessimistic in everything in my software. Point being is, this lady right here, I don't have it up there anymore. She's missing the point. Or this guy. For some reason, I got a feeling it's a lady. I don't know that to be true. This person is missing the point. So, did you reasonably pose that you can spend 4.5%? And I'm not saying what you can do. I don't know. You might only be able to spend 1/2 one, but I don't know. Anyway, so now that I'm saying you can't retire into 2000s, and the only reason I said that's the challenge and the basis of this. It's weird to me how many people don't. It's just weird. I guess I challenge the basis of why of a lot of the crap that's out there. And I guess some people don't get it. I'm probably British in my head, you know what I'm saying? I probably got some Brit in me where I'm just, dry sense of humor. I'm like, oh no, we can't retire. Well, yeah, you said we could. Oh my goodness, I was being facetious. Anyway, also you were saying to head into a deflation. Yeah, going back, we are heading into a deflationary time. The reason it's inflationary now is because of energy. I don't know how else to freaking say this. Now, you should have saw that Joe Biden and the globalists with Putin would bomb and do all that. I should have, right? But if we don't have high energy, if we have low energy costs, we're gonna have low inflation. The reading is right. I have a meeting with a bacon cheeseburger. That's funny. My man says something about right here. Thought I did. Nope. I'm missing them. He had a good. I missed it, man. Hold on, because this is a good question. All right. Q&R Painting. Do you have any thoughts about the collapsing birth rates, lopsided population pyramid, why this might be the case, despite jobs being wildly available? And then he says, age 18 to mid 20s, it gets slightly worse if you come from communities that are economic. I don't know what's he talking about. Oh, young men. Okay, right here. Young men in America have the largest unemployment rate since the Great Depression. Okay. I mean, I don't have to think. I mean, because they don't have a work ethic. A lot of them do. There's a huge dichotomy between the youngsters out there today who are freaking crushing and the lot that aren't, though. So there's no reason you can't find a job. I'm sorry, you can freaking if you're not working, it's on you. That's all there is to it. There's no reason you can't find work, dude. It's crazy. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was saying this is crazy. So he's in Midland, Western Texas, working the oil fields. They can't find people to be what's called, I think he said fire watch. I think it's what it's called, fire watch. And I said, what's that? He goes, literally, you stand around with a fire extinguisher on the platform. And you're just looking for a fire to put out. They pay like $25 to $30 an hour. He goes, yeah, you're outside in the elements, but you're literally just standing there. You can't be on your phone. You got to be looking around. They work 2 weeks, freaking overtime. Can't find people to do that. You don't need a high school degree. You can just show up and hell, you don't even need to speak English. Fuego, shh, done. I don't even know what they say in Russian. Whatever they say in Russian for fire, I don't even know what it is, but whatever that. Koktala, shh. You see what I'm saying? Put it out. That's all you need to do. Don't be on your phone. Just look around, stand up. You know what I'm saying? You see a fire, put it out. They get paid $25, $30 an hour, full benefits. They put you in a man camp. Can't find people to do that. I don't want to hear it when people say I can't find. Well, I was talking to these people up yesterday from Virginia. The freaking kids are crushing. The son's like in college, going to community college, working in marina full time I think it's full time. Well, he's going to community college, driving a forklift. 21, 22 years old. Daughter's up junior in high school waiting tables. I said, dude, there's so much that these young guys are freaking. A lot of them are crushing. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are though, and I'm freaking stoked. I'm stoked for the future. But yes. The population bomb is happening, but it's not the bomb like we're all going to be dead because we're going to be breadlines. It's the bomb is not enough people, man. 100%. Don't even get me started on the freaking census stuff and all the data of. I don't have the book here, but Nathaniel Jeanson from Traced, the book Traced. I've been listening to a lot of his videos and Answers in Genesis. I just think the whole thing's been a lie. Everything we've been told to has been a lie. One big fabrication. I think they're all full of crap. And as such, I'm completely engaged in. Oh yeah, I could see this. I don't think we've been around nearly as long as they say. We certainly didn't come from freaking primordial soup. That's just silly. There's an evolutionist. He said, I posted something that science is the ability to experiment and test, the scientific method. He goes, oh, that's what they do. I said, oh, evolutionists, and I said, evolutionists are laughing. He goes, oh, you don't believe in science? I said, science are doing empirical evidence, evolution. I mean, they're doing the scientific method to prove evolution. That's weird, man. That's strange. I'm not sure how you do that. I just think it's all one big fat lie. And it's okay. I'm comfortable with that. And I love it, actually. It's fun because when you go down a rabbit hole, you're like, oh, I see. It's just as fun, dudes. Anyway, point being, you got all these kids coming up and they're freaking crushing. Then you got a bunch that aren't. And it's the nature of the beast. 20% of the population kicks ass, take names. 80% of the population, 60% of the population is just doing what they're told, and 20% of the population are leeches. It's just the way it is, the way it'll always be. The way it always be. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do anything about it. No reason to get depressed or angry. You just kind of laugh. You chuckle. Lazarus laughed. Always go back to that quick story that's, I think it was a play, whatever they call it, screenplay, something like that. But it was a play. Lazarus laughed. He just laughed. Like, man, God, I hate to say God's on my side because I mean, God, that would imply that God's not on that guy's side. No, God's on everybody's side. So God's on our side. And it's all good. It's all going to work out. I'll say a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your greatness. Thank you for your bounty. Thank you for giving us the brains to think, to see your beauty of your creation, and recognize We have the brains to challenge everything simply because you gave it to us. You gave our brains to use to think, to challenge the orthodox, but also to remember to be obedient to you in all we do and give you thanks in all we do. And I know I sin on that all the time. I ask for forgiveness, but I'm so grateful for all you've done for the world. I am your creation. I am your creation. We are all your children. We just pray in Jesus' name. Amen. It's just funny because with God, all things are good, man. That's all there is to it. Without God, all things are bad. And once you start thinking that, you're like, if it's satanic, it's inherently bad. Are you doing stuff for Satan, even if you don't know you are? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't know. But it's gonna be tough to do that if you're gratitude in all things to God. You know what I'm saying? And don't say you're blessed because you got a lot of money. That bothers me because a lot of people are blessed. Everyone's blessed. Everyone's blessed, money or not. So don't say that. Don't say you're blessed because you got a lot of money. That would imply that you God picks favorites. You're not blessed because you have money. You're blessed because God had this divine spark for you to come to this world. Actually, I was listening to Kanye West. Did you hear that, man? Crazy. I won't say anything about what he said about certain religion, but he said the Holocaust in Black communities is Planned Parenthood. So how come no one's talking about the Holocaust in Black communities? I said, man, it's true. It's true. Just look at where they put Planned Parenthood places. They're not in rich, uppity white neighborhoods. They're all in poor Black neighborhoods. Wonder why that would be. Because Margaret Sanger. I tell you, let me see if I can't find a book here real quick. I'm going off a tangent, and I don't care. I'm going to find my book on Webb Du Bois. It's not Webb Du Bois. It's Webb Du Bois, if I have it down here. And we're going to see. Oh, here we go. Yes, we do. Oh, Webby. Oh, Webby Webb. Because everyone, all the blacks say, oh, Webb, all the black nationalists, they hate Booker T. Washington. They hate Frederick Douglass, but they love Webb Du Bois. And they claim they love Marcus Garvey, even though it's actually kind of funny. So let's just see if we have anything about Sanger with Webb Du Bois, shall we? In the NAACP. Let's just take a look here. I don't know if he will or not. No, not with Margaret Sanger, at least in the, hold on just a second, NAACP. But Webb Du Bois had a relationship, not sexual, I'm not saying that, but was a colleague of Margaret Sanger. Isn't that weird? Why would Webb Du Bois be a colleague of Margaret Sanger? NAACP, National Association for the Advancements of Liberal Colored People. Let's see here. NAACP. Yeah, I'm not going to find it. Oberlin. Yeah, shoot. I won't be able to find it, but let me just hold on just a second. Webb Du Bois, Margaret Sanger. I had read this a while back, and I was like, oh, now it all adds up. Margaret Sanger. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Oh, let's see here. Oh, right here. Yes, indeed. Now I'm not going to read this because I'm sure I'll get banned because I'll say, how dare you say anything? But I'm just going to show you a 1919 circular letter to Webb Du Bois asking for financial support for the birth control movement from Margaret Sanger to Webb Du Bois. There we go, asking for financial support from the birth control movement. Now, what do you think Webb Du Bois was? Why would she write a letter to Webb Du Bois asking for support for the birth control movement? Why would Margaret Sanger have anything to do with Webb Du Bois? Oh, could it be the black problem, huh? With Margaret Sanger? Because we know she was a freaking racist, dude. Now, sadly, there are some on our side of the equation in terms of the right wing, libertarian right wing, who are racist too. Who also it's not good, man. It's not good. But with that said, let's bash the people who are still promoting racism, which is Planned Parenthood. All right. And so with all these anti-Herschel Walker ads saying he doesn't want me to have an abortion. Yeah, I wonder why. Because maybe Herschel Walker respects the plight of black people. I'm just curious. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud. Why would they have the Planned Parenthood at all the local black neighborhoods? Crazy. I'm just thinking out loud. Remember Leanna Wen? Remember her, the crazy CNN lady, the doctor who just happened to be interviewed on the day of the Boston Marathon bombing, who happened to be prominent on CNN for COVID, who happened to tell people if you don't get vaxxed, you should basically never come outside. What was she? Oh, Leanna. Yeah. She was a head of Planned Parenthood at one time. Shocking, because Leanna Wen, I'm sure she really likes black people. Look, and I don't. Black people got to fend for themselves. They got. I mean, I'm not here to. At this stage, they got to do what they got to do. I just find it funny. All these black guys say, "Hi, Web Du Bois." It's not even. It's not even. It's mostly just uppity white guys at Harvard and stuff. They're trying so hard. Like, did you hear about the kid who got killed in Philadelphia? Sad, man. He was taken out. They got a videotape of this kid getting shot by a black guy. So it was a hit. I'm not sure why, but it was a hit. For some reason, he was at a Target. White guy, big lip. I guarantee he's like, some of my best friends are black. I met them. I know what the black people are like, and they like Web Du Bois. I learned about him. I did. Yeah. That's not going to go over, man. When it comes to you being targeted, it doesn't matter who your friends are. I mean, it does not matter. They're going to target who they need to target to either prove a point, or I don't know what I'm saying. The globalist cabal is what I'm saying. They're going to target you. They don't care. You think Malcolm X was killed by accident? You think Martin Luther King was killed by accident? John Kennedy was killed by, come on, man. John F. Kennedy was just killed by the lone gunman. Come on, man. Come on. You're such a conspiracy theorist. Right on. It's all good. All right. So let's 100%, James. 100%. It's this. It's such a travesty. Such a travesty what these evil people did. And we remember, as Moynihan talked about it in the 60s, he saw what was happening in the black community with absentee fathers. And it's only 30%, 35% black illegitimate children back then. And he saw it. He pointed out he was called the worst names ever. Now you got like 70%, if not more, illegitimate children in the blacks. And now you have 35% of the whites. Dan Patrick Moynihan saw this, dudes. And everyone hated it. They said, how dare you, Dan Patrick Moynihan? And he was a Democrat. You'll never get another Dan Patrick Moynihan. And Tulsi Gabbard, she's not it. Never get another guy like that. He saw it. And he called it there's a name he called for it. He called, one of you history buffs will know what Dan Patrick Moynihan called it. Degradation. It wasn't that. I can't remember. All right. So let's keep going back to reading some comments here, because I wanted to. What the hell do they call it? Declination. Hey, listen on the way from Midland and San Angelo. Good friend down in. Yeah, so that makes me want to hold on just a second. Hold on a second. Hold on just a second. This makes me want to sing something. I've got some fond memories of San Angelo, and I've seen some beauty queens in El Paso, but the best looking women that I've ever seen have all been in Texas and all wearing jeans. Who sang that? I'm a country plowboy, not an urban cowboy, and I don't ride bulls, but I have fought some men. Drive a pickup truck, trusting God and luck, and I live to love Texas women. Who sings that? Let's see. I think he even says, I'm an Oilers fan. I'm an Oiler fan, not a soccer man, and my arms are red, and so is my blood. And they make it boil with that soft Texas drawl, and I love them all, Texas women. I'm running Denise off of my singing. That's boy. San Angelo, and I've seen some beauty queens in El Paso, the best looking lemon I've ever seen. My wife doesn't want to hear me sing it because she's not a Texas woman. She's a Virginian woman, but doesn't flow. The best looking women that I've ever seen, all in Virginia and all wearing jeans. It doesn't quite work the same. All right. Let's keep going here. Yeah. Then there's hey. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right, go. It's Hank Williams Jr. Texas Women, just as an FYI, in case no one got that. That's Hank Williams Jr. Bocephus. And there they are. Dogs are howling. You heard that there, J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling's on board here. Yay! All right, let's go. Why did J.K. Rowling get? All right, let's go here. So I want to show you some other things. All right. So remember, look, I can't say what your spending is going to be, but if you sit there and say, "Oh my goodness, the market's only give me X, Y, Z. I can't spend Y, A, B, C," you're looking at it wrong, dudes. All right, let's see. So do I need to go back to work? I'm 63 and I don't expect to be around for 60 years, 20, 30 years. I don't understand how people are missing this. And again, maybe it's because I do so many videos that I people don't get my sweet humorous take, and I think I'm being serious when I'm actually kind of being flippant. Let's see. So-called wealth managers as a group would like us to work about 82 in order to keep their fee and commission engines burning. These guys will give you numbers and charts so your eyes glaze over, but the math is not that complicated. 2008 was my wake up. I was lucky enough that my principal is untouched. Since then, cash has meant sleeping soundly. The idea of investing it all after retiring, saving 18% of every paycheck and not living beyond my means allowed me to retire at 55. I didn't know. Okay, I don't think we disagree there, brother. I think Everett Calhoun. There was an Everett on here. I'm not sure if it's that guy that I banned on my other channel. I'm not sure if it's Everett Calhoun or not, but there's a guy who's being real rambunctious, if you know what I'm saying. You can say I'm wrong. Like my man says here, Chris Johnson, where is he? He don't like me. Where's Chris Johnson? I think he's in the business. And I used to know a Chris Johnson. I used to like him. I'm not sure if it's the same guy. Chris Johnson is a pretty common name, but there's a guy in here named Chris Johnson who's always spouting off, trying to show me that he's so much smarter than I am because I challenge the idea of paying a money manager. So comparing the relationship between RMD and the 4% rule. Why would you ever do a video comparing relationship between RMD and the 4% rule? Why? I don't get it, man. All right, let's see what this guy says. The boring bull. If you look at the historical record from 1928 through 1991, needing a 30-year window, then you will see you failed 5 years. That means you've retired in these years right here. Then you would have run out of money before a 30-year window. That's still a 90% success rate overall. Not to mention the scenario does not include Social Security. Well, okay, so this guy's just, oh gosh. He's just looking at Bill Bengen stuff, and I got no problem with that. But this is the 4% right there. And I'm just like, can we stop that? It's like my whole take on inflation. Why do people keep doing this to themselves, man? So here's freaking, what's his name? Friedman. Inflation. Too much money. Too much money chasing too few goods. All right, so there's Freeman's inflation. Too much money chasing too few goods. All right. So everyone focuses on the first part of this equation, too much money. All right. Don't focus on the too much money. That's irrelevant. The relevant part is the too few goods. That's what causes inflation, scarcity. And what causes scarcity? It's not too much money. It's too few goods because we have insane energy rules now. We're not just the regulations on various things like Sniffy Joe saying, don't drill here, don't drill there, don't drill. And then when he needs a political thing, he said, why are oil companies not drilling? We're going to ban fracking. We're not going to have pipelines. Thus, you have too few goods, too few things like natural gas to heat your house, to run your electricity, to freaking do air conditioning, whatever it is you're doing, however you're getting your energy. And that's going to cause too few goods. Oh, by the way, I just read today, Germany, let's see if I can, oh man, I'm not sure I'm going to find this. Is freaking nuts, dudes. This is crazy. I'm freaking optimistic as all can be, 100%. Because there's a certain segment of our society who's saying, "Yeah, I don't need to follow their freaking crap anymore. I get it. The lies I've been told for everything, I'm just not following it. I'm going to choose my own path. I'm going to say, I got my debt paid off. I can live pretty cheap if I need to. I can freaking tighten up should I need to. But why would you sit there and say, I can't retire because of 4% rule of the four? I'm sitting there thinking, have you ever thought maybe, it's crazy. I'm going to tell you it's crazy. Markets go down 30%. You just tighten your belt. You don't take that trip to Paris. Ever thought about that? Crazy. I know. Nuts, right? When things go south, you just tighten it up. I can do that. Yeah. Every time if things go real bad, to get a part-time job, but the jobs won't be there, dudes. You know why the jobs are there? Because of Obamacare. I absolutely think Obamacare has been a huge thing for one of the reasons why. Well, I mean, obviously, you'd want to factor in the fees, 100%. I did not know that. Moynihan was brotherless. Look at that. Fatherless. Moynihan was, yeah, that's interesting. See how that just opened by itself? Ghost. Halloween's here. Halloween's here. Carson, you can take off your mask. Anyway, so yeah, I heard that, Carson. No, but he called. Moynihan said Moynihan called it something, though. Yeah, the new inheritance. Yeah, so basically, my understanding, I just did a cursory look at this J.K. Rowling, was that they're not going to require RMDs for the 10 years. So you got 10 years to take it out. They're not going to make you have RMDs. You got to take it. Like, trust me, I could be wrong. I just did a cursory review of this, and it's okay. So basically, they're saying you don't need RMDs. You just got to take it out one time, or you have to. It has to be exhausted by 10 years, if that makes sense. Josh, if you're familiar with Tubi, dudes, oh my God, literally have dogs have ADD. This is nuts. Can dogs have ADD? Charlotte's making something. Smells good. She made chili last night. Oh man, that's good. He's gonna try and go low carb, but man, when my wife makes some food, she doesn't make it. Her beef stew is lacking. I said, man, babes, I love your beef stew, but can we have a little bit more stew? You know, like the sauce in there, like beef broth. She don't make it like my mom, dude. My mom made a killer beef stew, and she made a killer spaghetti sauce. Charlotte did say she went up to Starbucks, was going to get a Starbucks thing. $6 for a Starbucks. I said, hell no. I'm buying a Starbucks, dude. $6? I was like, that's crazy. All right. Tubi. Who the hell's Tubi? I don't know what Tubi is. Is that another? Yeah, 100%. How dare you, James? How dare you? I can't believe. I just think it's funny, man. The Republicans, the conservatives, like literally a day ago, they're like, Kanye. Then he says something bad about, and now they hate Kanye. I was like, yeah, come on. Gavin McInnes even. I said, what? I just chuckles me. It just chuckles me. So we're okay with whatever. The whole thing is nuts, man. It's and again, there is a non-religious cabal, and everyone wants to paint it as if it's against a certain religion. It's not. You know, it's non-religious. It's a satanic force of Steven Spielberg, perfect example. That guy's satanic. Don't hide behind some Abrahamic religion. He's freaking Satan. Oh, we got Oh boy. Hey boys. Oh boy. Look at that hair going up on his back of his neck. Look at that guy. Go see mama. Finnegan. Do you know Indiana Jones? Spielberg actually wanted the when Indiana Jones or whatever that guy's name was messing around with a girl, like the beginning scene. Spielberg wanted like a 10 or 11-year-old girl because he said it would be risque for Indiana Jones to have had sexual relations with like a 10 or 11-year-old girl. Like they actually have like the a hidden, not hidden, but the tape of him talking to the other producers about wanting Indiana Jones to have had relations with a young girl. It's a freaking pee, man. Crazy. It's like, who would even think like that? It's like, oh yeah, it'd be sexy or whatever. It's like, dude, what the freaking scumbag, man? Who even thinks like that? Crazy. I was like, I mean, just the idea that crosses your brain, Spielberg, you piece of crap. But he's gonna hide behind something we all know, and he's not that. He's not freaking that. He's a globalist Satanist, man. And all these guys are. And Kanye made he just screwed up by calling a certain group of people. You shouldn't do that. You should call it the whole thing. It's all evil. And it's not a certain group of people in terms of their faith. It's a certain group of people beyond their faith because they have no faith. None of these people do. They're all freaking satanic. Crazy. I just find it funny that all of a sudden people are like, oh, I hate Kanye. And I was like, what? Weird. 2 seconds ago, you're saying you love the guy. And yeah, it's not that. But I got to look up, but defining deviancy down. That's what it was. Moynihan said, I'm going to defining deviancy down. That's what Patrick Moynihan said. Look at Frenchie Mama, barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen like she's supposed to be. Look at that dog. I love pictures when you guys got pictures of dogs in your thing. Look at him. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh man, that is so funny. Look at that guy. Ooh. What do I think about losses? Ooh, yeah. All right. Well, we got to be careful, Kevin. What do I think about losses in buying similar funds in a brokerage account on the same day? Yeah, I mean, make sure they're not too similar because then you have the wash rule. I'm a big fan of taking losses. I'm actually a big fan of taking gains, especially if it keeps you in the 12% bracket. If you keep it I tell you, man, this is why having brokerage accounts is so much better than pre-tax money. I'm telling you, man, because there's stuff you can do in a brokerage account you can't do with pre-tax money. Roth is the best, don't get me wrong. I gotta show you these guys. Look how flippin' cute. Oh my, oh my goodness, so doggone cute. Anyway, but if you don't have, Roths there are limits there on how you get money in and whatnot. There's a big right next to us. I'm going on a tangent. Shocking. Charlie is a big chocolate lab. He's like freaking huge. And every time I take these guys for a W, if you know what I'm saying, they kind of know what that means. So maybe not yet. Anyway, Charlie's sitting there. Sometimes Charlie he has one of those electric fences, but sometimes he's able to get around it. I don't know how. And he's dumb as rocks, but he's just like, somebody play with me. And Pablo's like this big, and Charlie's like 100 pounds. And Pablo go up and like hit, like tackle Charlie, and Charlie just Pablo go flying, and Pablo go back for more. And the whole time, Finney just running around like freaking like a greyhound, just slapping him. It's the funny. Oh my! And Charlie's so dumb. And the whole neighborhood knows Charlie because he let's just put it this way, that electric fence breaks down more than it stays open. It's literally the funniest thing. I just love Charlie. He has these big yellow eyes. He looks to you like, hi Dad. It's like oh my, he's like Tigger. You know what I'm saying? He's big. He just and Finney and Pop just like, oh, it is the funniest thing. 100%, man. Yeah, Starbucks. Wash really up. Oh yeah, you gotta make coffee at home. It's crazy, 100%. All right, let's see what else. Tubi. Okay. Oh, see, that's the thing. You got too many streaming services, man. They have YouTube, freevoice.io, obviously Rockfin, Rumble, BitChute. This guy Tubi. It's like too many, man. Yeah, it was funny you're saying that, Carl. The COVID thing really pushed me over. Like I was always a skeptic of certain things. You know what I'm saying? I had been a skeptic since I first breached the question. Like, how come so many kids are getting allergies now? They didn't get them before. I don't remember any kids with allergies growing up. I mean, that's anecdotal, I grant you, but I said there seems to be this correlation or an increase in allergies. It's not just because the population has increased either. Just I don't remember any of this stuff. I don't remember any fat kids. I don't remember any allergies. And now I got 4 kids. They all have some sort of allergy. Between my wife and me, there are 11 of us. None of us really did. My wife's allergic to cats. So that's pretty much it. But I mean, what happened? And then anyway, long story short, when I had to take my youngest to the ER because of peanut allergy, where basically it's an anaphylactic shock, and he's 6 months old. It looked like he might die. He didn't. But it's like there's something weird here, man. I don't remember any of this crap. EpiPens, prevalent peanut tables, the whole peanut, no, something's going wrong. And I started questioning. I said, well, could it have something to do with the jabs that the CDC has recommended? You know what I'm saying? MMR. Because we have all these jabs. The schedule is outlandish. And I started, and this is when I was still on Facebook. I said, I just wonder. And I started doing some research. I said, where's the evidence that this stuff is safe? I got a couple pieces of quote evidence. If you actually read it, the Institute of Medicine study on the safety of childhood vaccination schedules, you're like, that doesn't, did anyone actually read this? And the interesting is the guy who had written that art, the big proponent of that was a guy who's been canceled for COVID vaccines. Off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. I just can't remember. Anyway, I mean, he's big prominent in the IOM Institute of Medicine, which is now something they changed it to something else. I said, did anyone actually read this study? If you actually read, you don't even have to read it, just read the abstract. They literally don't address what the parents' concerns were. They don't. And then you're looking at the evidence, you're like, this is from 1992. There's other evidence from 1987, 1996. You're like, the CDC recommended schedule has freaking grown exponentially. You freaking clowns, not you guys here, the CDC and the IOM and all the proponents of this stuff. You're not, it's like studying the freaking 1972 Dolphins and saying this year's Dolphins are going to be Super Bowl champs, they'll be undefeated. You're like, it doesn't make any sense. It's completely different. It's stupid. I'm sitting there, I can't believe this. And so I'm on Facebook, and the level of vitriol, it was crazy, man. I said, what is happening? I'll never forget this guy I used to work with. So flippin' angry. And he was saying the same stuff they said in climate change. 97% of scientists say this, the science. Michael Mann is hockey stick. And I was like, this is literally verbatim the same arguments when I challenge climate change. It's the same stuff. There's vitriol, hatred. You're like, you want kids to die? It was crazy. I was like, I just want to see some evidence. And when you looked at the scant evidence they send you, they're like, you didn't actually read it. I had my uncle who he lives in Thailand, and he's a huge vax guy. Huge. I said, I'd like to see some evidence. He sent me something, and I Facebooked him back, whatever it's called. I said, Uncle, this doesn't say what you said it says, or you think it says. And he ghosted me after that. It's like they don't even want to know the truth. It's weird, man. It's weird. Going back to Eric Hoffer, they have a lot of these people's lives are meaningless, and they just need to be part of something big to feel like they're accomplishing something because they have no. It's not even no morality. They have no, because I'm not saying they're amoral or immoral. They just have no sense of their own value, that they have to be part of something else to give them a sense. No self-esteem, essentially. And not in the fake way they're looking at now. Like everyone gets a trophy, not like that. But this is where these movements grow, is that you're feeding on losers who have no skill set, but they think they do. That's it. That's what Hoffer says. I wish you could find that article. It's pretty good, actually. We're quoting Eric Hoffer verbatim. He's like, basically, like, Eichmann, he's a loser. Hitler is a loser. They had better thoughts of their skill set than what was actually warranted, if that makes sense. And as such, they felt like society sold them a bill of goods, that they should be valued more. And because they're not valued more, they're going to blame society and basically force us to value them. Kind of like these vax Nazis and Michael Manns of the world and stuff like that's crazy. Anyway, so I started looking at that. It's like, and anyway, so I was like, okay. But anyway, ever since then, I was like, the more these guys yell and vitriol, hate on me, the more I recognize I'm onto something, if that makes sense. So when 2020 came around, I was already red pilled enough to say, I'm not. This is literally verbatim what the climate change Nazi says, what the freaking vax Nazi says. This is literally verbatim. This didn't scare me. It didn't scare me in the least. It didn't concern me that so many people fell for it. So, especially so many people that, like I was quoting in Einstein yesterday about his. I don't have it here. It's in the other room. How he said he couldn't believe how many scientific people. It's like they had their brains chopped out when for World War One. The patriotism of World War One. It's like these people who used to be clear thinkers have just completely been brainwashed. It was like, look, I think Big Al's a fraud, but at the end of the day, I still think he had some good stuff to say. And I say fraud, I don't mean the man himself is a fraud. I think how he got to the promise he is fraudulent, 100% called on by the cabal. He might not have even known he was. I don't know. But at the end of the day, he goes, man, these people before were smart and now clear-headed, and now they're just like, they have their brains operate on. It's crazy. The same thing happened in 2020. And the same thing with, Black Lives Matter, Me Too. It's just like, it's weird, dude. I don't think that many people, well, I don't know, man. The Black Lives Matter stuff is crazy. It was crazy. It was like, it's just crazy. Now it's the blue and the gold. What's it going to be next? The rhinovirus. The rhinovirus is coming out. You're like, and in my own field of financial planning, I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? It's just people who would, I'm this guy who I respected. I can't respect him anymore. He had written an article about, retirees going to have to live off less. And I said, and I'm reading his article. He goes, yeah, if we adjust spending for inflation, I'm not going to say this guy's name. I was stunned the level of vitriol he had towards me. It was crazy. I said, where is the evidence of this, dude? I just, look, I'm not challenging your summary, but where's the evidence that retirees are going to spend more as they age with inflation, whatever, and never mind whatever inflation you're going to use. Where is the evidence for that? And his evidence was, have you seen the gas price of the gas pump lately? I was like, what? I mean, here's a prominent guy in my business. Have you seen the price of the gas pump lately? I said, are you truly using that as your evidence for 30 years of inflation for retirees to spend? The price of the gas pump today? I could not believe. I was stunned. I said, no. I mean, I said, yes. And then we got a little bit of debate, and he said, oh, you must not be familiar with the retirement spending smile. I said, of course I'm familiar with this. He goes, I sat on a panel with Blanchett and what's his name, Fow, and the other guy, Kitsis. So I don't think you understood it right. I said, I literally understand it right because I literally couldn't believe it. I said, well, I took it apart. I understand what they're saying, and I absolutely disagree with it based on this, that, and the other. But that's even the retirement spending smile is not evidence of an inflation-adjusted spending for the rest of it. I'm sitting there thinking this is nuts. So again, inflation-adjusted spending, $40,000 a year. We're going to inflate it by 3% a year each and every year till you die. All right. So we got $1 million in our 401k. We got 40,000 a year. This doesn't include fees. It doesn't matter. That's inflation-adjusted spending to try to get a safe withdrawal rate. And I'm just like, where's the evidence of this? Literally, where is the evidence? Kind of like with the IOM study. Where is the evidence that CDC recommended vaccinating schedules for children are safe? Where is it? Where is the evidence? I'm happy to see it. If you send me evidence, I'm going to read it. And if it's freaking crap, I'm going to tell it's crap, as my uncle did in many, many others, the IOM study. So his argument is, oh, well, you don't understand. So then he said, he didn't backtrack. He said, well, you're not familiar with the retirement spending smile. Like, dude, can you not see what the hell you're saying? The retirement spending smile is that your 40,000 starts up here, and then it drops as you age, and then as you get older, it goes up because of healthcare cost. That's not this. This is insanity. This is 40,000 adjusted every year with a 3% inflation. There's a retirement spending smile. They're completely opposite. You can't use those two things in the same argument against me. This is insanity on steroids. He's a prominent guy in my business. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? Huh? I said, well, the retirement spending smile isn't even a smile. It's a freaking fish hook. Goes like that. Maybe even up a little bit. Like that. But I can't believe this. I'm like, what the hell? I just, it stuns me. I'm like, dude, I'm just a guy in my freaking Chris Barfield t-shirt, which I'll burn because Barfield, the guy, don't trust that guy. He's always up to something. He's always going to drive up behind you and honk his horn, his big old truck, make you jump in front of all the pretty ladies. They're going to say, oh, Josh, I thought you're a man, but now I realize you're a scaredy cat. I want to get a ride with Chris Barfield. That's what he did to me when we met for lunch one time in Atlanta. Walk into my car, just mind my own business, walk in my car. Chris goes that way, I go this way. Next thing I know, honk! I was like, freaking about poop my pants. I might have actually, not saying I did, because that's kind of disgusting, but man, Chris Barfield. I'm only wearing this shirt to say how much Chris Barfield he will pay. Hey, what was I talking about? I forgot. Anyway, so the whole point is, I'm sitting there thinking, all these people, they're stupid inflation adjusted spending models. I'm saying, show me the proof. Where's the flipping proof? Well, what about healthcare? Okay. What about it? Well, you're going to pay a lot of money because Genworth says you will. Oh my goodness, Genworth. Wow, they don't have an incentive there, do they, to sell you long-term care, to scare the bejesus out of you for long-term care, to sell you insurance, do they? No incentive there. Like Fidelity, they don't have an incentive to get you to work longer, save more money so they can get fees. No incentive there with their stupid, you need $386,000 of healthcare costs before you retire. What the hell? It freaking pisses me off, pardon my French. Because there's so many people, and it's the version of the Faucis. We have our version of the Faucis talking out both sides of their mouth, pushing propaganda. I don't even know why this guy who I'm talking about here, banging, would be like, I don't know why. It's weird to me. Like I'm sitting, and the only thing I could possibly think is going back to the Eichmanns and the Hitlers of the world. They think they are better than what they are relative to their smartness. And look, maybe I'm thinking that too. I don't know. I'm willing to be wrong if I see some proper evidence. But the evidence that, there is no evidence for inflation adjusted spending each year. There's a couple small articles, one in Italy, and you just say, okay. But the vast majority of evidence is the exact opposite. The vast majority. It's just, frankly, it's not debatable anymore. I think we all recognize that now. So part two of this, the evidence is just not there. And then you're going to say, you're going to overstep that evidence. You're going to say, no, well, the retirement spending smile. I'm like, dude, it's like literally like Fauci. It's like Fauci talking about both sides of his mouth. I'm like sitting there thinking, and people follow this. That's what's scary. People follow this crap. Nuts, man, nuts. But let me see something else. I was looking at this thing today. Yeah, defining article I saw on Advisor Perspectives, and I commented on it because I was like, I can't remember. I'm gonna see if I can't find it real quick. Who is oh yeah, I remember what it was. Yeah, right here. There's where I saw the Bill Gross thing. So check this out. I haven't read this article. I just came across my feed because I like to get fed. Bill Gross criticizes total return bonds funds he popularized. Let's see what old Bill Gross is talking about. He pioneered the total return strategy and the PIMCO total return bond fund. What happened? Where we go? That revolutionized the once sleepy bond market. Yeah. Just like the banks got revolutionized after we got rid of Glass-Steagall, which I was a huge proponent of, and now I just wrong. Bring back Glass-Steagall because it went into they could take derivatives, they could take on debts to leverage. All right, but now he says many of the funds bearing the name are failing to live up to their mission after suffering heavy losses. They've clung to their benchmarks too closely, essentially become a quasi-index tracking, a closet index. I don't know about that specifically, but I get what he's saying there. Charging a high fee to be an index, what I'm saying. I don't know that to be true, though, but be it as it may. Total bond fund is now down 17. I think the guy just emailed me today is down 20% as of last November, so it's getting smoked. Where the Bloomberg bond index is down 16%. These total return funds are actively managed with the ability to go low in terms of maturity duration, but they all seem to be chasing index plus performance as okay. They have lost their total return charter. individual investors choose these funds believing they will produce a defensive return in times of stress. They have been misled. Well, Ginnie Mae's down, Bill. I mean, my goodness. For heaven's sake. Government bond funds are down too. They're big guys. So if government bond funds, don't be bashing your former employee when they're down too. If they're not heavy in government bonds, they're heavy in longer term maturity corporate bonds. Inherently, they'd be down more. I mean, government bonds are down the worst literally the worst we've ever seen. It's amazing. It's amazing. We are in the worst bond market ever, my friends. We are in history right now. It's being made. To not see this and to get all, I just sitting there thinking, this isn't going to last. Do you literally think the treasury market is never going to produce again? I mean, okay, then get the hell out, man. It's crazy to me. So people actually think the days of treasury bonds are over. There'll never be another year. I literally don't know what to say. That's nuts. And if you're right, what does that mean? You think you're going to have electricity coming in your house? No. I know socialists. What is socialist? How did socialists light their homes before candles? All right, so let's ask a question. Critical question. You got people. All right, still people here. How did socialists light their homes before candles? How does socialists? Yeah, but my man, you got to have cash to back up the truck. I can't stand this thing. I'm not being mad at you. I just hate this. Everything on sale, back up the truck. Back up the truck with what? You got to have cash to back up the truck. If you had cash, how long have you been in cash? 15 years? Well, I got out in November last year. I doubt it, man. I doubt it. I think some people did, but I don't think the vast majority, because I've heard this a million times a Sunday. Well, I got out in October 2007. Hey, when'd you get back in? And, look over there. Yeah, exactly. Now I forgot what I asked. What was my question? I asked a question. I forgot what it was. Yeah, exactly. My Scott, Texas. What did liberals use to light their houses before candles? Electricity, exactly. Anyway, so if we're going this way of the prehistoric man, that evolved from monkeys, bananas, freaking primordial soup from nothing. You see how stupid evolution is? I mean, just on its face. There was nothing there, and now there is something here. Us. A bunch of monkeys at a typewriter would ultimately produce a Shakespeare with time. That's what Carl Sagan would have you believe. A bunch of monkeys, an infinite amount of monkeys, sitting at a typewriter would produce Shakespeare with enough time. The whole thing's just so freaking stupid. Just how many people fell for this, I can't. It's mind-bogglingly. Never mind the lack of evidence. There isn't any. They have all these theories, and that's great. The bending of light, the gravitation, light bends around mass objects. Heavy. The individual spokesman before growth started the fund, fixed income was dominated by the buy and hold strategy. Instead of sitting back and picking up steady interest rate payments, remember, he did this in the 1980s. What was the 1980s buy and hold strategy? Freaking smoking. It was awesome for bonds. The strategy helped the fund right here. Gross took active positions, yield curves, credit risk, volatility, and derivatives, leverage. The strategy helped the fund consistently beat its benchmark over time, but who knew that they're heavily leveraged? I bet you didn't. The success came to an abrupt end when Big Bill left PIMCO following an acrimonious fallout with other executives. Yeah. He jumped over to Janison Henderson Group, and after failing to replicate his earlier success, he retired. So just as my man, let's see if I got it. I'm not even sure I have it up here. We're going to look at my bookshelf. And we still got a couple people. All right, cool. Appreciate y'all being here. Much obliged. Let's see if I have my man Mal Keel up here. Random walk. I'm not going to go find him, I'm sure it's upstairs. I'm sure it's upstairs. Random walk down Wall Street. There we go. All right, cool. So Burton Malkiel, who's a professor over at Princeton, I'm not sure if he's still there. He might be a professor emeritus now. Let's see. Oh yeah, I literally haven't opened this book up in ages. Just see some of my highlights. Let's see what they say. Okay. In early 1990, investment-grade bonds yielded about 9.5%, while junk bonds often yielded 14% or more. Thus, even if 2 or 3% of the lower grade bonds defaulted on their interest and principal and produced a total loss, a diversified portfolio of low quality bonds would still produce a higher return than would be available from a high quality bond. All right. There's another school. This is what I just highlighted from a long time ago. To protect yourself, make sure your bonds have a call protection provision that prevents the issuer from calling your bonds in order to issue new ones at higher or lower rates. Yeah, right here. So that's what I talked about the other day in my book, my video I did on you need a Schwab brokerage account. I talked about zero coupon. Oh man, all right. In addition, talks about zero coupon bonds. Hey, Ginnie Mae, right here. Man, I know this. Cool. Man, it's been a long time since I read this book. Probably 1996. The Ginnie Mae. Hey, look at my man Burt Malkiel. Holy crap. All the funds listed in my reference guide are invested in prime quality issues with minimal risk of default. I personally favor the Ginnie Mae fund. This fund invests exclusively in Ginnie Mae mortgage pass-through securities. They are bonds backed by a pool of government-insured mortgages, either VA or FHA, and are therefore a general obligation of the U.S. government. You don't have to listen to your buddy Josh. Burton McKeel says that right there. I'm not sure. He might have even won the Nobel Prize. I'm not sure. I don't care if he did. I'm just saying. Some people do take pride in that. He's a Nobel winner. Wow. So isn't Paul Krugman. So isn't Ben Bernanke. Wow. So isn't Paul Samuelson. Wow. So isn't Milton Friedman. Wow. Interest and principal payments on the Ginnie Mae bonds come from the interest and principal repayments of the underlying mortgages. Not only is the security on these bonds of the highest quality, but the yields are comparable to those of corporate bonds. Hence, I think the Ginnie Mae fund is a particularly attractive in today's bond environment. Again, this is written in Burton Malkiel, 1990s when this was published. 1991. There's my man Big Burt. Economists have argued as an inefficient subsidy. I can't see what he's saying there. All right, cool. There's my man Ginnie. Talk about Ginnie Mae. Maybe look at that Ginnie Mae right there. Cool. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, he's got all kinds of stuff in here. I've looked at this book a long time, man. This was one of the first books. Never pay more for a stock than its firm foundation of value. Generally, the earnings multiple of the market as a whole is a helpful benchmark. Growth stocks sell at multiples in line with or not very much above the multiple often represent a good value. Service Corp in the study just described is a good example. Its multiple is actually below the markets. I wonder what happened to Service Corp. I don't know. An extraordinary long-run earnings growth rate is the single most important element contributing to the success of most stock investments. Okay. Anyway, look at all this stuff, dude. I mean, I really read this pretty good. So when I got out of the Army, I did not do well in school. I mean, I had like a 2.01, 1.95, something like that. I was probably like 600 out of 800 in my class. You know what I'm saying? I just horrible. I hated school. I still hate school. I hate school. Hated it. Always have. Always will. So when I get out of the Army, I'm nervous because I was in the light infantry. You know what I'm saying? I did not do well in high school. And I'm going to college with a lot of spoiled rich kids. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get blown away. I was nervous. So I remember I went to George Mason. I got the syllabus for the economics thing I was taking in advance of starting as a freshman. And I remember this is one of the books I bought. This is 1992. And it turned out my economics professor, Howard Block, became my economics advisor. Anyway, I remember reading all this stuff. I read that. I ran up Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt all this summertime before college started. Because I was like, dude, I don't want to be sitting there. I don't want to be looking like a fool. You know what I'm saying? I was very, very nervous. And it turns out I had no reason to be. Most of those kids, college is, you don't have to, I mean, literally, man. It's I have no respect for people who say, I have all these degrees. I could care less. I could care less. And not say I don't respect a person, but I don't respect their credentials. Because I recognize, say, that's it. And then you look at Harvard and their inflation, grade inflation, all that stuff. It's nuts. I mean, literally, the only people getting to Harvard are rich kids anyway, and then they all pass because the rich kids. Look, it's such a scam. Actually, it pissed me off. I saw this from the Tax Foundation yesterday, and I appreciate you guys on the videos because a lot of these stuff I come up with and I see, and I say I got to do a video on it, but I like just doing what I'm doing here, just riffing because it's fun, and I don't like to waste time just doing a specific video on some stuff that's not all that interesting to a lot of people, but to me it is. But I try to. I really want to keep my videos where evergreen stuff where people look back on. Anyway, so here's this freaking fool. Should we tax university endowments? Of course, the answer is yes, unequivocally. And this is Alex Murasini. And the only thing I can think is Tax Foundation is funded by Chamber of Commerce because why else would he basically say no? And basically, what I want to go down. Let's go down to Harvard here real quick. Harvard. But beyond the legal truism, we exempt nonprofit universities from taxation because they provide us a good with positive externalities. No, they don't. They don't do that anymore, whatever this guy's name was. Well, yes, Harvard Endowment has as much money under management as many of the world's largest hedge funds. Its income serves as a social purpose. Yeah, to promote left-wing crap. And Tax Foundation is supposed to be somewhat conservative. It finances a portion of the university's operations and ensuring its long-term stability. Okay, so what? So doesn't freaking Merck or any of the other damn companies out there that are for-profit, fool. This gets to the heart of the endowment tax debate, a disagreement about the value of higher education itself. No, it doesn't even get to that. It gets to the fact that you can say Harvard serves a social purpose. I can say Merck serves a social purpose. Why should Harvard get a tax break? Because their social purpose is better? It has nothing to do with the value of higher education. It has to do with equity. Aren't we all about equity now? Diversity, equity, inclusion. In fact, I was just reading it today. 96%. Do I have it up here? I probably don't. 96% of Cornell's professors or whatever it is, they donate to the Democrats. Why are we subsidizing these people when they're far left institutions? Tax the flipping hell out of these people to make them come to the center. Freaking tax these guys, man. I don't understand why Republicans, if you do that, I'm like, it is insanity. You're it's Lenin. We're going to sell to the capitalists the rope for which we use to hang him. This is exactly what's happening because Republicans have sucked. And look, I don't like John McCain, but he said it right in 2000, I don't know, 2000, I think, maybe 2004. He said, at some point, we got to get over this tax stuff because basically 50% of the people aren't paying taxes. I 100% agree. I could not agree more. Probably the only thing I agree with sneaky McCain about. You know what I'm saying? Was that right there. At some point, the Republicans got to move on beyond tax cuts and start saying, no, let's look at other ways. All right. So anyway, the conventional, I want to show you something here, though. So this guy says, by learning things in college, what is that there, guy? Students become more productive workers. No, they don't. It's the exact opposite now. They're less productive. Freaking, it drives me crazy. This is in 2022. A guy from the Tax Foundation writing this stuff. Man, it's probably just tooted. Woo, that stinks. All right, let's see here. And that's what happened. There's Brian Kaplan, who I've taken on. He doesn't know me, but he's we need open borders. Let them all come in. I'm married to a lady from Ukraine. I don't know where else he's married, but he's married to an immigrant. And she's great. Yeah. I guess what? They're Brian Kaplan. Let's bring MS-13 and park them next to your house there, brother, and see how great they are. Libertarianism is a joke. I'm absolutely concluding that libertarianism is an absolute joke. I fell for it for many years. I still believe in drug legalization, 100%. I'm still not for the death penalty, but libertarianism, economic libertarianism is a joke. It's just, look, it's easy for Brian Kaplan and his ivory tower, George Mason, to say how great immigration is. Go down there to Dale City. My wife was just telling me in the neighborhood next to hers where she grew up, four people were killed. Yeah, I wonder why. Anyone want to take a guess in Prince William County who the perps were? I think the perp was white, but I think there was some bad. I think it was some illegals or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, MS-13 is down there. Let's just put it this way: Where my wife grew up is not a place you'd want to grow up now. Why? Because we have a lot of freaking illegal immigrants that went there and took over the neighborhood. We all know this, but Brian Kaplan doesn't know it. They're all here doing a good. And the facts are, I agree. A lot of that, I 100%. If we didn't have immigration, it'd be tough to get a lot of stuff done. That doesn't mean we can't police up who gets to come in our borders. Brian Kaplan and the libertarian fools. You say, no, stop. We want to see who you are. If you got MS-13 tattoos, I don't think we want you here. All right, let's keep going because there's another thing I want to push out here. There's all separate argument for higher education's value. Amalgamation effects, the benefits of having many highly skilled people close together. For example, universities are hubs for research and create networks that drive entrepreneurship and innovation. These connections help explain why Boston was able to claw its way back from an industrial decline to a center of high technology and why Silicon Valley was developed close to Stanford. Again, the rich elites are getting the benefits of tax free. I'm sort of not going to, but let's keep going because he says more about Harvard here. Right here. But there's a more modest case to be made. A substantial, though indeterminate amount of value conferred on these elite schools is the brand name. Harvard internationally recognizable, and to some extent, this is self-perpetuating. Harvard built a reputation for being an elite school, so the best and brightest go to Harvard, therefore produce elite graduates who often donate back to the school later, helping it gather strength financially. Whatever happened about equity tax foundation, people? The dynamic probably helps why there's so little turnover in top university rankings. Exactly. Where so many of the universities are founded at least a century ago. Elite schools provide social benefits in terms of human capital. Do they, guy? So you're going to tell me those social benefits would be declined if we tax endowments and foundations? But here's my man Tom Cotton. He wanted to pose 1% tax on the fair market value of the largest endowments. I like this even better. Matt Joyce wants to raise the TCJA tax on university endowment income from 1.4 to 10%. Yes. Tom Cotton says you better, like a regular trust, a revocable trust, you better get this 5 and 5. 5% of the income needs to go. 5%, or is it the assets? I can't remember. I think it's assets. Assets, I can't remember. 5%, I think it is of the assets, actually. 5% of the assets need to be distributed each and every year. Distributable net income is what that's called. And that's what the endowment should be doing too. And let's keep going here because as for the case of wealth taxes, low taxes can be deceiving. Let's say $1 billion endowment makes a respectable 6% return in 1 year, or they made $60 million in income. Under the Joyce bill, they pay $6 million in taxes. However, the wealth tax and the Cotton bill mean they owe $10.6 million in addition to $840,000 they owe on a 1.4% tax on endowment. Okay. So they're still walking away with freaking 48 million there, guy. Additionally, many proposals suggest attaching strings to the university to change their behaviors in some ways. Absolutely right. 100%. Neutrality is important. It's not neutral now. Broadly, a college endowment tax is a small part of larger debate about the U.S. higher education system. Anyway, the point being, it's like, you're not really raising any revenue anyway. I don't care. It's called punishment, creating behavior that benefits all citizens. Right now, higher education doesn't benefit conservatives. We know that for a flippin' fact. It's a hostile environment for conservatives. Why are we funding these people with tax breaks? How the tax foundation fools can't get this, I don't understand. I don't get it. Your social benefits are social benefit one subset of society, not for the society at large. Just reading Pierre, the stupid guy from Google. Was it Google or eBay? I think it's Google. Pierre Omidyar, whatever the hell that guy's name is. And they funded some left-wing radical group. I can't remember. Anyway, the point being is we have concentration of wealth in certain facilities, faculty, well, in this case, the endowments of large schools. It's not good. That's bad. Concentrated wealth in certain groups of people is bad. I used to believe it's okay. Trust me, man. I think I even have hold on just a second. Let me see if I can't find something about your old buddy Josh. Yeah, because I think in Forbes magazine, I had a letter to the editor almost defending old Pierre. I'm going to find it. With, I have a long time ago, I had a letter to the editor in Forbes magazine defending Pierre. Hold on a second. Oh, let's see. All right. Let's see if that's it. Huh? Hold on just a second. Let's see if we can find a letter to the editor in Forbes magazine from many, many moons ago. Let's see. Let's just do Josh. Damn. Let's see. Hold on a second. There's another one. Oh man, I don't want that stupid thing. Let's go back. Go back in the saddle again. We go back. We go back in the saddle again. That's 1994. All right. Anyway, let's just nothing. All right. Never mind. Anyways, I had a letter to the editor. It was actually because there's some union thug was saying this is back in 2000 about being anti-white men. And I was like, what? I don't know. Pierre Omidyar is a white guy. I think he's freaking Middle Eastern. Middle Eastern, probably white guy, but still, I mean, we don't know that. But I was like, what? Even back then, they were saying they were anti-white men. Some union thug back then, and I wrote a letter to the editor saying, what? Crazy. By the way, do you know I was interviewed? I'm going to share it with you if I can find it between. One second. It's kind of interesting. A long time ago. Yeah. There's a guy who used to write for the American Prospect magazine. Anyway, I'm not going to find it. But anyway, I can't remember this guy's name. But which was funded by Robert Reich, and he interviewed me because I was a right winger producing heavy metal and hardcore albums. And he says, "What's that?" It was an interesting, a good piece actually. And I was like, "Because what's it like being right wing in the hardcore / punk rock?" And I said, "Yeah, basically I'm on an island by myself, but it's fun. Every now and again we'll turn people." And I had freaking contacts all over the world: Singapore, Japan, Brazil, Russia, Australia. I mean, so it's basically running what's called a distribution center, where you're sending CDs and little albums, LPs, 7 inches, 12 inches, sending them all over the world. I was putting out CDs for bands that I liked, and it was just fun, man. It was a lot of fun. But then Maddie came along. I said, all right, I gotta start making a little bit of money. But anyway, so the guy from Robert Reich's magazine, American Prospect, interviewed me in like 1998. That was pretty cool. And he said, well, it was interesting because there's not very many right wing bands, that's for sure. It's becoming more and more prevalent now. And I'll say more. I think they're becoming. It's easier to find right, and I hate to say right wing because that doesn't mean that much, but easier to find more conservative bands than it used to be with the internet. That's just a fact. It's a lot easier. So if you're looking for music that agrees with you politically, Jill, you still here? What's the name of that? Yeah, French-born Iranian American. Right on, man. James, how dare you, James? How dare you? Don't you know that if they raise taxes on the endowments, they're going to raise taxes on us? That's what everyone says. What's it? 5 times August? I think is it called? 5 times August. 5 times August. Is that what's called? Let's see. Go Navy. About 9:30, 2 airliners that flew into Selfridge. I don't know what that is. Selfridge Air National. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, there's Joe. 5 times August. 100%, man. That's all those groups and churches too. After churches, after what happened in 2020 and 21, the churches shouldn't be tax exempt. No way. Should freaking tax them all. Tax them on their income like everybody else. Oh, yeah, that guy actually goes into. Let me just go back because he actually talks about the churches. And I said, huh? The stupid article. Hold on a second. I'm back in the saddle again. All right, now we'll get out of here. Hey, oh yeah, Brent says conservatives need to learn to use the internet better. Yeah. A lot of things conservative need to learn, Brent. So let's see. He says something about churches in here. Church. Right here. Okay. To begin with, taxing nonprofits is something of a non sequitur. As my colleague Jared Walzak, who's on the Tax Foundation, I read a lot of his stuff, noted in his discussion of the taxation of churches, nonprofits, unlike for-profit corporations, do not have net income. I sitting there, I'm like, did a man who writes for the Tax Foundation actually just write, churches, nonprofits do not have net income? Why do they not have net income? Anyone want to take a guess? In some years, the revenue from contributions, returns from their financial assets may exceed their expenses, but these are not the same as a company's profits. It's just a labeling of nonprofit versus profit. That's all you're doing. Freaking, what's this guy's name? Alex. Who is Alex? What? I'm like sitting there thinking, if they have, oh yeah, look how young this guy is. Oh boy. Oh boy. He attended us. He graduated 2021. Oh boy. He enjoys Dungeons and Dragons. There you go. At least he likes Back to the Future. That's okay. I like Back to the Future too. Back to the Future is probably one of the best movies ever. That, Napoleon Dynamite, and American History X, my three favorite. I did love The Count of Monte Cristo. That freaking movie. And I read the book. That was one of the movies. That was one of the things where the movie was better than the book. The Count of Monte Cristo with Jim Caviezel. That movie kicked ass. Back to the Future 1, Napoleon Dynamite, American History X, and The Count of Monte Cristo. And probably the Blair Witch Project. Oh man. All right, so this guy's too young to have. I mean, look, I'm not saying he's stupid. He has a lot to learn, as I did when I was his age, and I still do. A lot to learn. But anyway, the point being is, why would churches? When your net income exceeds your expenses, that is inherently a profit, Alex. They're not the same as company profits. Just because we don't call it a profit, it is the same. Tax that flipping thing, dude. Why? Raphael Warnock. Why do you think he's getting paid so much? Because they have to pay, because they don't want to have all these profits on their books. They got to say, we're not for profit. We're going to pay our salaries more. Why do you think freaking USA credit unions, they typically can pay more in rates and have better interest rates to pay more in CD rates? Because they're not taxed on income. Come on, Alex. You're a tax foundation guy. You got to know this stuff, dude. Come on. So if I'm a church, I'm Raphael Warnock. I'm evicting poor black people from my freaking houses, and I don't want anyone to, how dare they sully the Ebenezer church that Martin Luther King was at by calling me freaking corrupt as a day is long. This is what they did. They're freaking nuts. He's going down. I can't wait. Anyway, point being is, and I abused my wife too. And finally, the Republican Party hitting back on the anti-Herschel ads with anti-Raphael, said this guy's a scumbag too. You want to talk about violent behavior? Unlike Herschel's violent behavior, which was 20 years ago, this is violent behavior like now. Now. His wife is on TV saying that, like in 2021. But hey, we're going to blame Herschel Walker. Crazy. My daughter's fucked. No, I don't want to say it. My daughter fell for it. Maddie. I said, Maddie, I just, it's sad, dude. These schools, dude, but what are you going to do? They're adults. I mean, look, man, I'm sure my mom was frustrated when I went my far hardcore libertarian ways, and now I've come way back to be a populist. I'm going to call myself let's call a socialist nationalist, right? There's no way to I just think it's funny. Hitler was a socialist, as was Lenin, but somehow Hitler was a bad one and Lenin was a good one. I don't understand that. With the Mao was a good one, but Hitler's a bad one, and yet they all had mounds of bodies under their feet. But because Hitler, he was a bad one, but the other guys just didn't do it well enough. We didn't break enough eggs to make an omelet, says Stalin. So you call yourself because Hitler was a socialist, but you have the term national in front of that. That's bad. But if you can call yourself an international socialist and you'll be good. International, get it? The cabal. Whole thing stupid. Anyway, point being is, so if I'm Raphael Warnock I get all this income coming in from rich corporations because they want to, because I'm going to protest in front of the corporation and say Black Lives Matter, like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson do. And they send me a check for $200,000, and I got expenses of $100,000. What should I do with that other $100,000? Because I'm in the process of evicting poor people out of my house that I rent to them because I'm going to live large as possible in the extra $100,000 that I just got from Pierre Omidyar. So what do I do with it? Oh, I increase my salary and I increase my benefits that I get. Very convenient. But hey, Alex here said that's not a tax. They're not being. That's not a profit. Yeah. All right, my friends. I pour on paper, says Sergio. Right on, man. Now, conservatives need to use the tax code to advance conservatism. I agree they need to use the internet better, but they need to use the tax code to advance conservatism. Because people are afraid of the tax code being turned on them, and they're not worried about the conservatives doing it because the conservatives say we're low taxes always, and then when it turns on us, it's like they say this as a Christian. You're a Christian, you can't be for that. You're like, oh, so now you're defining what a Christian is, even though you're an atheist. Okay, so now you're defining what a current conservative is, even though you're a socialist. Okay, gotcha. So when we say we're going to turn the tax code and make these people pay for the complete discrimination that they've been having under the tax code that we've allowed them to get away with. I mean, all these schools are like that. Got to make them pay. Say, no, we want freaking affirmative action for conservatives. We're going to start making it happen. Oh, now you're playing their game. Yeah. Well, look where it's gotten us, people. We haven't played their game. We said we're too good for their game. We don't want to get dirty and down with these people. Look where it's gotten us. We got 57 flavors. We got freaking abortions everywhere. We got freaking no one having children. We got freaking LGBT everywhere. And if you say, hey, maybe being straight's okay, you get banned. We got all this crap out there. We got schools that basically, if you say I want to bring in, I was reading someplace the other day. I forgot who it was. Give a speech. I can't remember what it was. And it's like, no, we're going to protest. You're like, what? Huh? I mean, they used to have like people when I was at George Mason, Jared Taylor spoke there. No protest. I think I got Jared Taylor's book up here. As a matter of fact, it might not be up here. Paved with Good Intentions, Jared Taylor. Samuel Francis, right there. Paved with Good Intentions by Jared Taylor. Failure of racial relations in contemporary America. And I don't think it's paved with good intentions. I think it's intended to be bad, 100%, to keep the rabble-rousers at each other. Anyway, that guy spoke at a George Mason thing. I'll never forget that. No one protested. No one said, oh, he can't speak. Freaking, they had John Birch Society people speaking at, giving around pamphlets. Had a table at George Mason in 1992. You never get away with that now. But these guys are taxed. But John Birch Society members pay taxes. You might not like them, but they pay taxes. So why should they get a tax-free? Why should the schools who don't let these people on campus get tax-free? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Use the tax code against them to make them be equitable. Equity, man. We need some equity. All right. I get out of here, my friends. Been God bless. Appreciate y'all being here. God is good always. And we'll see you on Sunday. All right. Thanks, guys.